Poets Cafe. It is where artists comes alive. The spoken word brings forth the inner creation of hidden treasures, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that rings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds, be it writers, singers, spoken word, artistic expressions and paintings, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas and opportunities to the mind at all levels. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina, gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Welcome to the Artists of Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCrae. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to engulf a new wave of presenting this platform to our audience. So sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started. Again, this is the Poetically Speaking show, and I'm here with my brother here, and we have a lot of good things for you today, as always. But before we begin, I just want to give a special shout-out to jazz great Herbie Hancock, who just had his 85th birthday. So happy birthday, Herbie Hancock. Also, want to give you just a reminder. We have a situation where we want you to come out and join us. We're going to be at the Broadway Public Library on Wednesday, April the 22nd at 6, and I want you to come out. They're calling it an open mic night and calling all poets sign up and practice your spoken word poetry. And again, we want you to come out. We want to meet you. A lot of you have been very loyal with the program. You've been tuning in every week, twice a week, and I really appreciate that. So again, we want you to come out and get a chance to meet you and shake your hand and hug you, whatever you like, because we want to show our appreciation to you. And so again, as always, we have our agenda, and today's agenda is "My People Hold On," and I subtitled it "Everyday People." The quote of the day is, "Got to give the people what they want. Got to give us what we need. Our freedom of speech is freedom or death. We got to fight the powers that be." And of course, that is from "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy. Again, one of the inspirations for this show is rap music. I say that rap music is African American poetic expression, and that's why for me, rap is a serious thing. I look at rap with a scholarly eye. I've done a lot of research on the music, on the culture, and that's what we bring to you. And that's why we have a segment in the program called "Music is Lit," where we actually read lyrics as poetry, and that's definitely inspired by rap music. But one of the special features of our program is Ron's poetry. So, Ron, what do you have for us tonight?
Oh, I'm always caught off guard.
Oh, well,
but I'm always prepared.
Well, that's good. That's a good brother right there.
Yeah.
Master poet.
Let me read this one, and this is important. And the title of this is "A Moment of Consciousness."
I love that.
And that's what's important. A moment of consciousness. And how many of y'all really think about your own consciousness? Do you think? How do you think? And what do you think about?
That's right.
That's a good point. So let me get into it. Defining consciousness is pivotal in rendering one's thoughts beyond self. Where am I? Time passes through the wind tunnel, traveling in many directions without the answer to its whereabouts or purpose. Consciousness is the inward body of the soul. By searching deep, one will explore hidden molecules within the core of the wall lining. As the membranes speak in a language coded by electrical impulses. As we aspirate, every organ jolts to restart awareness, collaborating with other inner parts to establish the whole. Skepticism leads to self-doubt and distrust, which results in stagnation and isolation, distorting life's view through a narrow lens. To achieve dreams, one must facilitate harmony within the mindset and avoid the possibility that nothing is as important as believing in oneself. God is the primary source of our existence, vertically or horizontally. Inline, parallel, no matter which way we go in circumference, time is always there to receive and guide our pathway on this lonely journey. Let your belief and conscience be towards the heavenly stars shining so vast and brightly, saved by the grace of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Muhammad, Jesus too, and many more, who led the way and comfort even in the midnight lonely hour. We can still rise towards the freedom of one's dream if we listen to the alarm tingling in our brains. Answer the call and wait for a change. Are you conscious or still wandering in your own wilderness of self-doubt? Create a steering wheel mechanism to align with a vision that controls the code of conduct of your conscious thinking. Thoughts are valuable. For a structural foundation, it must be solid as a rock and stand on your belief.
Yeah, what is the name of that poem again?
A moment of consciousness.
A moment of consciousness, and for some people, I hope that moment is more than a minute, okay, because we need that consciousness right now. We're going through something that is very traumatic, that we're going to talk about some more, because, again, we talk about the 60s and 70s and the things that we went through at that time. We got through it, but we had a plan, we had a purpose, we had a mission. And so hopefully we can get ourselves together to do that. But, brother, I really appreciate that poem, and what inspired you to write that?
Well, I guess every day we always thinking, but how many days?
Every day, right?
Right. How often does one think of your own consciousness? And that's what's important. There's too much confusion outside of yourself. Rather than focus on you first and understand who you are, where you're going, where you come from, and your existence today. So I'm inspired all the time, as you know, and many who know me, because it's all about being conscious of your whereabouts, your thinking, your actions, your emotional, physical, no matter how you look at it. Are you conscious of who you are? That's
right. It's a beautiful thing, because, again, I think that, more so at any time in our history, that we have to really know who we are. Because, again, if we know who we are, we know where we're going. And that's why, we have a very special guest with us this afternoon, a young woman who is really about us defining ourselves, about us finding ourselves within ourselves. And so Ron is going to give us a brief introduction, and because I really can't wait to really speak to this young woman.
And, before I go on, what, I get excited, and I'll be honest with you, because like you said, every time you come up with something, we always collaborate on the exact same page. Yes, right. So even when I was asked to write this, and I wrote this without even aware of our guest at the time, and it lines into what she's going to present today.
It does.
And that's what's important. That's what's important. Yeah. So I want to read her bio, and I will say this honestly. I would like to pronounce her name, but I'm going to allow her to get clarity on it, because, again, there's nothing worse than somebody fumbling on somebody else's name you can't pronounce. Right. So at this time, with all due respect, I'd just like to say welcome to the show, Gina D. I'm going to call her Gina D, and then she'll give you the full clarity of her name and the pronunciation and the meaning behind it.
Yes, please.
Gina D is the sole proprietor of Sankofa Sojourns. The passion behind Sankofa Sojourn is the healing and transformation of cultural and collective trauma around the traumatic slave trade. That's important. That's right. Gina is committed to the restoration of the collective psyche by healing from the trauma of racism. She is committed to overcoming the dominating worldview and creating a world she wants to live in. She is committed to creating such a world in order to give hope to the next generation coming up behind us. Yes. At this time, we'd like to welcome you to our show, Gina D.
Thank you.
Now, say the name the way it's supposed to be said.
Okay, I'm Gina Leto Juf.
Juf, okay.
Yeah, so Leto is my maiden name. Juf is my married name. So,
Oh, beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. And it's so funny, we were speaking to you before, I knew you were from Africa. I just knew that, and you corrected me. So where are you from?
I'm from Africa. I'm from, as I said, this small African village in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yes.
Absolutely, and I've never been there.
You have to come.
Yeah, you gotta come.
Yeah.
But again, it's so good to have you here with us this afternoon. And I think maybe just for our audience, now it's Sankofa Sojourns. And for many people, they see that word Sankofa, and then they see there's a symbol of a bird looking backwards. Would you break that down for us? What does that symbol mean?
Sure. So Sankofa, that's a Akan concept. It's a Ghanaian, well, what's called Ghana now.
Okay.
So it's a Ghanaian concept. The Akan people there believe that that it's not taboo to go back and retrieve what's at risk of being forgotten or left behind.
Okay, yes.
So some people will make it loosely translate to go back and bring forward what you need.
I like that.
So that's why the bird is looking back, but the feet are pointing forward, and it's got a little egg that it's also protecting.
Yeah, I love that. Again, I think, people have to do that. Like I said, when I get into the Music is Lit segment of the program, is basically looking back to look forward. But again, when I visited your website, you talked about, to heal racial trauma, and you said through meditation, movement, and the arts. And could you break that down for us? How do we use meditation and movements in the arts to heal our racial trauma, which we'll go into a little further? But I really want you to maybe isolate those three things: meditation, movement, and arts.
Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. So one thing we know about anything is that what's true is true. Mm-hmm, so if healing trauma through meditation, movement of the arts is possible in any kind of trauma, then it's also possible for racial trauma, right? Because it's just the way trauma can be healed.
That's right.
One of the things that we know is, what did you say, Brother Ronald, about aspiration and like when our breathing, how it just wakes up everything.
Yes.
And the whole body responds when you breathe.
Yes.
Right. So in meditation, most of the meditations that we do are focusing on breathing and how we breathe.
Beautiful.
Because when you're in trauma, no matter what kind of trauma it is, you usually are holding your breath.
Yeah.
Or if you're not holding it, you're not breathing deeply.
That's right.
You're just taking shallow breaths just to keep you moving forward, right?
Yes.
One of the things that you have to do is to calm yourself by breathing properly, by breathing deeply, by taking the time to calm your mind and using your breath to do it.
Yes.
So that's one way that it heals trauma.
Yes.
So when we're doing breath work or meditation during a sojourn, which is what I call our excursions, I call them sojourns. This just means a temporary stay somewhere.
Yes.
Right. So when we're doing meditation and breath work, we're healing ourselves. Right. Every day that somebody sits down to meditate, they're changing their physiology. They're changing. They're opening up new neural pathways. They're changing.
Yes.
And they're healing. But it's daily work, right? You have to keep doing it all the time.
Yes.
So, likewise, so when we're at a place where trauma has happened racially, through the transatlantic slave trade, we might find ourselves in these, this situation. So when we go to a place where that is being honored and recognized, and meditate there, we're taking back our power.
Okay.
Right? We're making a new pathway.
Yes.
We don't have to now just associate that place with that torture or pain.
Yes.
We can open up new pathways. Wow. And so one of the things that we use to create new pathways is the arts.
Okay.
Right? So we went to, say, the African Burial Ground in New York City.
Yes.
That was the second sojourn I did. And but while we were there, we wrote poems.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We wrote poems after, so we went to visit the burial ground. We did the official tour. We
mhm.
saw all of the things that, you know, it could really break your heart
Yeah.
to know that your people were buried here and forgotten for centuries until somebody decided to put office tower
Yeah.
over the burial
And that's
ground.
something. Oh, man,
And
that's crazy.
then find that the office tower still went up, you know, and it's still an office building, but they know that it's a burial ground. So yes, it's an honor that they, you know, did, you know, exhume the remains and
Hmm.
have them reinterred, but it also feels like a knife in the gut to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we're there and you see all of that,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
know they show you pictures of the actual bones,
Yes,
um,
yes.
so it's painful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a painful history.
Hmm.
But then you come and you create something joyful. You create something beautiful. And it might be a
Hmm.
poem that's sad,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But you've created something there.
Hmm.
Where something was destroyed, now something was created.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so
Hmm.
you're replacing those traumatic memories, those traumatic cells,
Hmm. Hmm.
even with new new thoughts, new neural pathways, new ways to see that, new ways to
Hmm. Hmm.
think about it, new
Yeah.
ways to feel it.
Hmm.
So we can use arts. And for me, movement is sometimes connected to the arts,
Yeah,
right? It
yes,
could
yeah.
be dancing,
Yeah, that's right.
you know,
That's
so, but it could also be just like one of the movements that we do would be physical,
right. Hmm.
physically
Okay.
tapping our body in different points,
Yes, yes.
right? It's called the emotional freedom technique.
Wow.
And so by using this technique,
Hmm.
and you can use it for anything,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be for racial trauma.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
It's for anxiety, for worry, for
Yeah,
anything.
what do you think?
So by tapping on certain meridian points, you're opening up channels and you're freeing yourself
Wow.
and you're releasing
Hmm.
the things that held you bound up.
Yes.
So that's some of the movement that we do. In addition to, you know, maybe some yoga, some Tai Chi,
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah.
So those three things I feel are very key to healing in general in life, you know, in general.
Yeah, well, I thank you so much sharing that because again, you know, sometimes people don't seem to realize that we do have control over our bodies. You know, we don't have to dwell in the negative. We can change that by going into the positive. And what I want to do, I want to move to another segment. We're going to come back to what you were saying, but this segment is called Mind, Body, and Books. And in this segment, you know, basically I just bring forth some books, and I just wanted to bring a few books. And this first book that I want to share with our community who's watching is called In Search of Gil Scott-Heron, the Godfather of Rap. And again, this is what they call a graphic novel because basically it's a story, but looks like a comic book. I remember when I was raising my first family, every Saturday we would go to the library. I had 2 girls and a boy, and the girls would get their books for the weeks, and my son, he would get a comic book, or he would get something that was, at that time they didn't call it a graphic novel, but it was something that he could relate to, but he could read, and I think that reading is important. The second book that I want to make everybody aware of, this is a classic. This is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing. And this is Dr. Joy DeGruy. Again, a classic in this work, because again, this is something that we need to look at. And the last book that I have here is a woman I met a couple of years ago. Is called Healing the Wounds of American Slavery. And this is from Paige Means Hopper. Again, this young lady from the from the West Coast. And this book came about because she had a dream. It was more than a dream. It was like she was back as a slave girl, and that she was going through all the trauma that slave girl went through, and that was the basis of this book. And I share these books because these are our records of our time and in this country and the things that we've gone through. But we've gone through even worse things, believe it or not. And that's why we always take the time out to share with our community, what we have to say, but also what we found in books. And my brother, he also has books that he would like to share as well. And I see you have a book there that I think our community should know about.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the post-traumatic slave, I had the exact same book. I had the first one, and it was interesting because last night when I was going through books, I pulled it out and then I put it back. I wanted to find out. You can see the collaboration and the thinking without even knowing the spirituality. And even as I guess, and she's going to come back, and as you indicated with various books, to show you that you are in line without even knowing about your own conscious thinking and awareness. But always when you tap into yourself, you're tapping into the spirit of the positiveness. And so this book here is that I had mentioned before, but nevertheless, no matter how many times you mention a book or see a cover or a title, the story always changes, and that's what's important. So again, this is the miseducated of the Negro. And this is what we talk about, even with books are lit. I mean, the books and the stories that we tell, you can go back 1,000 times, and you still cannot go back and comprehend in that moment that they was experiencing or thinking or feeling or talking about. And that's what's important.
Yeah, and it's very important. And that's why, Ron, it's funny because these songs that I actually recite in the segment of Music is Lit, I mean, these are songs that I listened to, of course, 60s, 70s, went and dance, like a madman, And now with the Music is Lit, I have to actually, because what I do is that I actually transcribe the lyrics. So I have to pay attention to that. And I tell you, man, I've found a whole world of just revelation. And really, for me, it's salvation, because I know that we've gone through worse times. And today, what I like to do, and again, I try to put this together in some kind of coherent way. And what I did, I was looking at different songs, and I said, well, all these songs relate because they all have people in the title. And so the first song that I like to recite is from 1971, and it's from a group called the Shylights. And Eugene Record was the lead singer and also the songwriter. And again, they were known for not being so political, but they came up with this particular song that I want to recite, and it really knocks me out because it seems like it was written yesterday, but it was written in 1971. And it says here, for God's sake, you got to give more power to the people. There's some people up there hogging everything, telling lies and giving alibis about the people, money, and things. And if they're going to throw it away, might as well give it sent to me. Yeah, they seen and heard it, but they never had misery. There are some people who are starving to death, never knew but only hate us, and they never had happiness. Oh, ho, if you don't have enough to eat, how can you think of love? You don't have time to care, so it's crime you're guilty of. Oh, yeah, for God's sake, you got to give more power to the people. For God's sake, why don't you give more power to the people? Cut the jive and see who's got the power to kill the most. When they run out of power, the world's going to be a ghost. They know we're not satisfied, so we begin to holler, making us a promise and throwing a few more dollars. There's no price for happiness. There's no price for love. Up goes the price of living, and you're right back where you was. So whatever you got, you just be glad you got it. And now we're going to get up on it and got some more of it. Oh, yeah, for God's sake, you got to give more power to the people. For God's sake, why don't you give more power to the people? For God's sake, you got to give more power to the people. For God's sake, why don't you give more power to the people? And this was in 1971. But at that time, they had a lot of artists who were being sort of quasi-political because they still had the love songs on the album, but they had these songs as well. And one of my favorite groups, and we talked about this before, the OJs. Again, Family Reunion, Unity, all these songs. And Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff were the writers behind this, And Philadelphia International Records was the company. And this song here, Give the People What They Want. You got to give the people Give the people what they want. Well, right now, don't you know you got to give the people what they want. Well, I done been over the world and everybody feels the same. It's a unanimous decision. I said they're ready for a change. Yeah. Don't you know? Got to give the people what they want. Well, don't you know? You got to give the people what they want. Well, it's about time for things to get better. We want the truth, and no more lies. We want freedom, justice, and equality. I want it for you, and I want it for me. You got to give the people what they want. And you got to give it up, give the people what they want. You better, don't you know, got to give the people, give it up, give the people what they want. People want better education. People want better food to eat. People want better housing. People want money, cash money. People need equality. People need understanding. People need freedom. And God, you better give the people what they want. Come on, give the people what they want. Come on, give the people what they want. Don't you know? Give the people what they want. Give the people what they want. Better places. Don't you know? You got to give the people what they want. Give the people what they want. And in essence, according to the song, and it is still real for right now, that people want education. The people want food. The people want housing. The people want money. The people want equality. The people want understanding, and the people want freedom. And this was in 71, and it seems we need it even more so today. And this last song that I want to read is not as political as what I read previously, but again, sometimes the simple songs can be the most profound because it really covers the spectrum. And this song is from 1968. And this song is called Everyday People by Sly and the Family Stone. And this was their first #1 song. And people still didn't know what to make of this group. This was a multiracial group, black men, black women, and it was just a reflection of the vision that Sly Stone had for people. And this is called Everyday People, and it says here, sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and them makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah. There's a blue one who can't accept the green one for living with a fat one, trying to be a skinny one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Oh, sha. We got to live together. I'm no better, and neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out the bag I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah. There is a long hair that doesn't like the short hair for being such a rich one that will not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha. We got to live together. There's a yellow one that won't accept the black one, that won't accept the red one, that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Ooh, sha. I am everyday people. We got to live together. And again, Ron, it's so funny. These are songs from the 70s, and it seems like the 70s was yesterday in terms of what's going on in the world right now. There's things that are going on that are soul crushing, and I don't know, man. Are we going around in circles? I mean, what's going on, brother?
We about one dizzy people. ain't going to the circus. We're dizzy.
I'm like, man, I'm definitely dizzy.
How can you be dizzy and going to the circus at the same time, confused? You know, that's what's important.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's interesting you read that because Aretha Franklin done also a revision of that. And no matter how you look at the lyrics then and now, especially then, was so profound.
They were, yeah.
Everyday people.
Yes, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You hate me, you love me, you choose me, whatever the case may be, you're black, you're white, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm everyday people.
Yeah.
We pass each other each and every day, and yet and still today, how many people really speak and say hello and have a good time?
Yeah, that's something.
And see, so what you read and all that we're talking about here is absolutely what we tried to bring to you, of the conscious mind.
That's right.
Be aware of. There's nothing new. They was talking and singing back then.
The 60s
and how
and
many of y'all
70s.
today was born then? But
Yeah.
nevertheless,
Yeah.
this is what we talk about. And this is what our guest also is going to continue to bring forward as we continue to bring to you our platform, our message, our engagement, collaboration of a conscious mind.
Yeah.
You can't be happy if you're looking back. But I'm going to come back to that one.
That's right. And the thing is, and it's so funny, and Gina, now this is the part of the program where we really let you just have your way. and the thing that I want to just say as a preface to what you're going to share with us, and I know, we have a very extensive community of people who are watching us, and there are people who watch us live, and then, because we're on YouTube, they might catch us at another time. But there may be somebody out there. Maybe you. You asking the question is, why is Gina and Ron and Terry talking about this post-traumatic slave syndrome? I mean, doggone it, that was in the past, man. Let it go. And my question to you, Gina, is why can't we let it go?
Well, okay. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
Well, it happened,
yes, it
right?
happened.
And in general, no one lets anything go, right?
Yeah,
There's another book. It's called "The Body Keeps the Score." Like everything that has happened to us,
it's
here.
It's in us.
It's in us.
Yes,
so so this requirement for us to just let it go and move on is unrealistic.
Okay.
It's not human,
Yeah.
right? Humans don't work that way. So we heal. We can heal things and move forward in healing, but you don't just let things go. If somebody did something to you, whatever, somebody cut you off in traffic, right? You can't let that go.
You can't, yeah.
You can't let that go. I've been there. So, you will be angry at that person for days sometimes.
Yes.
And you feel slighted and insulted. How dare they cut me off like that? And I had a car full of kids and he could have killed us.
That's right.
And,
They're crazy.
That was something that happened in a split second one time.
Yes, yeah.
And you can't let that go. You have to process things, and you have to sit down with anything that happened to you. With something like that, I'm a recovering road rager, right?
Okay.
So I had to learn.
And
I remember specifically pulling over one day and saying, I have a baby in the car.
Oh my goodness.
Now. So is it worth it? So he did that to you. Yes, he could have hurt you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go follow this person with the baby, and then what? And then you're going to confront them, and then what? So I had to literally pull myself over and walk myself through what happened.
That's right. Yeah.
And then make a decision as to how I was going to move forward.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, just let it go. Because I could have just driven on and just been mad and cursing under my teeth.
You had to deal with that.
But I said, I got to be present because I have a child now. And it's not just me on the road. And so then it made me think. Right? So when you think about something, it's different than when you just say, I'm just going to let it go and just go.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, you can process it, you can work through it, you can heal it. Same thing for us.
Yeah.
Because I do believe anything is everything.
Yeah.
So how you handle anything is how you handle everything. So the same way I couldn't just let it go when the guy cut me off, but I was able to move forward from it and release it. There's a difference. There's a difference between releasing something and just letting it go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess that's where your breathing came in, right?
Well, I didn't know about that at that time. So
that was pre-breathing,
right? But maybe I was. Maybe that's something that I did and didn't even, unconsciously sat down and like took some breaths and collected myself so that I could calm down and think about it.
Yeah, because you got to deal with it, right?
Because you have to deal with it.
And you're absolutely correct. And so much happened in a split second.
That's right.
You and your the moment of consciousness. But then in the same token, the moment of consciousness, somebody lost their life. Somebody went to jail. And now it's too late. You can't look back and regret what you didn't look for when you should have been looking forward and thinking about the moment.
That's right.
Yes, and this is what we're talking about today, the conversation, the lyrics of the books, the author, and our guests. This is what's so important, is the conscious minds of being aware of self, no matter how you look at it. And I'll be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie to you. You always hear, well, just let it go.
I can't let it go.
The thing is, others don't think about how you feel, what that done to you in that moment, because everybody's on different levels.
That's right.
It may be like somebody stabbed me. It's easy to say that because the conscious mind, the unconscious mind don't think about being consciously aware of what happened, because a little tiny sting may catastrophic shock your whole body. So it was easy to say let it go, but you didn't feel the pain.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is that when we go through this this post-traumatic slave syndrome, there are things, there are behaviors that we exhibit. In this book here, Healing the Wounds of American Slavery by Paige Means Harper, and she says here, and this is from the back of the book, she says, we have been languishing in the adaptive behaviors and antiquated non-solutions around race far too long. Now we find ourselves in a conspicuously alarming culture of confusion. It seems we have no hope. Healing the Wounds of American Slavery invites us to drop our mask and engage in unguarded dialogue, free from the defenses imposed by racial tensions. This will change the course of history. This book sheds a light on, and then she talks about some things that are really outcrops of the trauma we've gone through. This is things that we go through. Like you said here, continued rage, damaged belief system, death, fear, grief and brokenness, jealousy, masking and pretending, mental illness, self-hatred, under or overachieving. Okay? Now, these are all symptoms of this post-traumatic slave syndrome. And, my question to you is, I know that you do these sojourns in New York, and what made you start that? What was the catalyst for that thinking?
Wow. So when you mentioned the book, what did you say, Healing the Trauma of American Slavery,
Yes,
and you said how she had a dream.
Yeah.
So very similarly, it wasn't a dream, but it was a vision.
Yes.
So I was in a yoga class, and it was it's a Korean yoga, it's an energy yoga, and we had to do different movement because movement changes how you think about things.
Yeah.
And so during a particular session, we were doing this movement, and I kept getting flashes of visions.
Wow. Okay.
And so the first flash was a man, a very old man, but you could see he was very wise.
Wow.
And I didn't know who he was. And I asked him in the vision, "Who are you?" And he said, "The grandfather." I said, "Whose grandfather?" He went away. Never came back, never answered me. Okay. Another vision came, and it was women in white. And they were dancing, and they were joyous. They were African women dancing joyously. And but it was clear to me that they were dancing on a ship.
Yes.
And it was a slave ship. And I remember just thinking, like, how can they be joyful on a slave ship? And that was the vision, and it was never explained. It was just, that was what it was. And so that kind of haunted me. That stuck with me because I had to wrestle with it.
Yes.
And it came to me very clearly, that your joy is your choice.
Yes.
Right? You're going to be in situations, you're going to be in places that you may not have chosen to be in. You may be doing things that you don't necessarily want to do.
That's right.
But your joy is yours.
Yes.
And it's your choice. So what I came to learn, and I still don't know what was going on in that vision, but I said, well, it's very possible because we do know that they would capture people and then make them dance
That's
to
right.
keep
Of
them
course, of
limber, keep their muscles, and
Yes, yeah.
So it could have been that it was a session like that. I don't know. But the joy that I saw in those women's faces was not something that anybody made them do.
Wow.
And so that's one of the things that I realized is, okay, life is gonna life and things are gonna happen. How you respond is always up to you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that was where it really started, because then I needed to know who these women were and why they came to me.
Wow.
And so through the years, I would go different places, and I would have experiences when I was there. I went on a family reunion cruise to the Bahamas.
Wow. Okay.
And was walking in the streets of Nassau, and I just did not like it at all. And I felt I felt a lot of pain, and I just felt like this is a terrible place, a place of trauma.
Yes.
And yet there's a ship over here, and everybody's living it up, and this is a paradise.
Yeah,
I'm in
course.
paradise.
Yeah.
But it did not feel like that at all. When you take a turn off of Main Street, whatever, you take a turn off the main drag, and you head into town a little bit. I was not far in.
Yeah.
You can feel the difference. It's desolate, a lot of abandoned buildings. And I started asking people, what's that building? Oh, that used to be this. That used to be that. It's a lot of empty stuff there. There's a big area that's owned by the United States. I think it was, naval base or something, but it's abandoned. But it's still owned by them. It's just desolate. So I went there, and then the ship docked in Charleston, South Carolina.
Wow.
And I had never been to Charleston. Going to Charleston, all I could feel, because I like to walk around, I like to see wherever I am.
Of course.
So all I could feel in those cobblestones was blood. Like, it just felt like, this place is really steeped in our blood.
Yeah.
Like, this is where our blood was spilled, and this is what we built. We built this country right here in places like this. Yeah. And so coming from one place to that place, or going from Nassau to Charleston, it was a lot. It was a lot. A lot got stirred up inside. And I had another vision a little before I went to Charleston, before we went. And I was so shook by it that I called my friend at 6:30 in the morning. When I woke up, I called her.
Well, yeah.
I said, I don't understand. This is what just happened to me, and I don't understand. I had gone to ancient cities. I had gone to Venice, which is ancient. Venice is ancient. I went to a building that was built in 1200. 1200. So I'm like, man, this is
ancient.
Ancient, right? So this is a medieval castle. It's a church.
Yes.
So I had gone there, and then went to the Bahamas, and then Charleston, and so. But in between there, I called her and I said, I just got a charge placed on my life that I don't understand. I need to talk to you. Wow. And she's very spiritual. So I asked her. I told her what it was. I said, I am laying here and I'm hearing very clearly that I need to reverse the Middle Passage.
Wow.
By ship. And I said, I don't even know what that means. Why would God ask me to do that?
Yes.
Because it was clear that's who was talking to me, right? Because it wasn't like words. It was just placed in me.
Yes.
And I honestly, I'm stubborn. We don't always get on the bus when the bus stops by. So I said, why me? Why do you think I can do that? And, of course, I didn't get an answer to that. Because I guess that was not the type of question you're supposed to ask. You're supposed to say yes and ask for help.
Yeah, but these are sojourns,
Right.
These are things you go through.
Right.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I want to go back to this book here, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And this is a revised edition. But I think probably the introduction will stay the same. And I want to go back to that concept of Sankofa. And again, this is the symbol, And it says here, Sankofa, return and get it. And this is from Dr. Joy DeGruy. She says here, we must return and claim our past in order to move toward our future. It is in understanding who we were, that we will free us to embrace who we are now. The meaning of Sankofa. In the summer of 1994, my sister, my niece, and I were among non-African American women who traveled to Southern Africa together. Upon my return, I found it difficult to adjust to being black in Portland, Oregon, a city once touted as being the whitest city in America. My 6-week journey through Southern Africa had left an indelible mark on my heart and my soul. And when you speak of your vision or whatever you want to call it, again, it left a mark on your heart and on your soul and on your spirit. And so what you're doing through the Sankofa Sojourns is so necessary. And I think that's probably, you know, one of the ways that we resist what's going on. One of the ways that we fight, because we have to fight. We just can't let what's happening to us just happen. And again, and I commend you, my sister, for the way you're fighting. And I know my brother has something to add to that, right?
You know, it's interesting because, again, I always say, because I could feel, I know, I understand the connection. Mm-hmm. And yes, there's always question. But when you listen to somebody else's story, for me, then I know you were chosen. See, many don't realize that you're chosen at a given point in time, even in your dreams, because God, the word of God, the heaven, no matter who you call, always puts something there for a reason. And it's not for us to ask the question. Mm-hmm. And so just in short, this note, as you were speaking, I put a journey through the land, feeling the spiritual joy of the trauma one cannot understand. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because what you express, what we read in the book, returning back, you have to understand where you come from, whether you physically go there or you don't, but you have to spiritually, mentally, and consciously understand, who am I? Where do I come from? Because you didn't just pop up here, unless you one of those, what do you call them, hybrids? But other than that, you came through your mother's womb, who came through their mother's womb, and because of your father, so on, so on, so on. You are the seed of life that was cultivated through the soil that God has given us. Mm-hmm. That's who we are. Right. And so you experience something. Right. It's not the rhyme or reasons of why. It's for you to travel that journey, to get a glimpse of it, the feeling of it. Mm-hmm. And many who have journeyed, whether it's South Carolina, North Carolina, or even Africa, because I done a YouTube, we done a documentary on YouTube called Going Home. And I expressed the exact same thing. There's a feeling beyond our imagination. Yeah. But it's a good feeling. It's a healing feeling. Mm-hmm. And so, as you said, my brother, is that to come together, we must connect to feel the energy of what life and freedom is all about. And this last piece, because as you said, and what you was feeling, these women was dancing. Yeah. They was dancing freedom.
That's right.
In spite of what they had been through, where they come from, what they was going through, they were dancing freedom. Are you dancing your freedom today?
Oh man, that's a beautiful point. And also, when I was doing some preparation for the program today, I went to your website, and you have this quotation. I'd like you to sort of expand upon a little bit more. It says here, traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller. And this is Ibn Battuta, I believe. But again, traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller. Why did you choose that? And what does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like traveling, that's exactly how I feel about travel. Okay. You go places, and you go places because it's somewhere you want to go sometimes. Yes. Sometimes it's a place you just feel pulled to go. But you also want to talk about it. You don't want to just go there and say, I've been here. You want to go there, you want to bring people with you, and if people couldn't come with you, you want to come back and tell them what it was for you. And I feel like we tell our stories, and it frees us in a way. It frees us in a way because we're sharing. We're sharing something that we experienced, and everybody's experience is different. That's true. You can take 6 people on the same trip. Maybe Dr. Joy's sisters or people maybe they didn't feel the way she felt
That's
on
true.
that trip.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
some of them were just, oh, this is nice. And some of them were just downright uncomfortable and
Right,
didn't like
that's
it at
right.
all. And it's too hot or it's too cold.
Whatever. Yeah.
Who
yeah,
knows?
Yeah.
So everybody has their own perspective when they travel. So everybody can tell a story. When you go someplace, you can. That was life, right? You would go. Somebody would leave the village. I don't care what village. I don't care if it was Africa, Europe, wherever. Somebody would leave the village, go see something, and come back and tell people what it was, what they saw.
Yes.
So it makes you a storyteller. And I feel like, what is that expression? When we know our story, we know our power.
Yeah.
Right. So you tell your story. It helps you.
Yeah.
And it might open something up in someone else and maybe liberate them too.
Yeah, I love that because my brother here, he went to Africa. As a matter of fact, a mutual friend of ours actually, took him to Africa and showed him things that the most ordinary tourists will not see. And I know when he came back and he shared the documentary that they put together, and they're still working on it, because again, I told him and the brother who helped him put together, this is a tale that needs to be told, a story that is really profound. And I'm sure you still, you have dreams you probably never had before because you were in Africa.
And you're right. The experience is just unexplainable. I could tell you a billion times, but see, as my sister, our guest, indicated, everybody's experience is different.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. The moment I was asked, his name is Ali. Oh, yeah, I'm going to Africa. You want to come? Sure. I didn't hesitate. Never been there, but I didn't hesitate. Got the money, got the ticket, and went. The moment we got on that plane from JFK, I felt a relief beyond imagination. The whole time, we was over there a month. The whole time, it was such a spiritual calmness. It's unreal. The cordialness, the politeness, the welcome of the people to welcome you into their homes.
Wow.
My neighbor don't even welcome me
That's
into my home now.
right. I don't know my neighbor.
I don't know him. I said we had. So even in the book, and many who say the experience of going home, just to hear the term, going home, your experience, as you said, whether you've been there or not, but you experience something now as an indication that I've been home. I'm in the land. I'm in the motherland of spirituality because I can see and feel my ancestors dancing with joy.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
That's beautiful, and it brings to mind, and again, YouTube is a beautiful thing. And I want my community out there to homework, okay? I want you to watch a film. And the film is called Soul to Soul. And it's about a group of African Americans going to Africa for a music festival. And it features Ike and Tina Turner, Eddie Harris, the Voices of East Harlem are in the film. And the headliner, which is surprising to me because they wanted to get James Brown, but I guess James Brown wasn't available because he's the hardest man in working in show business. And so they couldn't get James Brown, Ron, so they got Wilson Pickett, and he tore it up. He was the headliner, and I said, man, Wilson got it like that? And the Africans were dancing. They lost their minds. They were dancing and jumping up and down, and they got up on the stage, and they tried to push him back from the stage. And Wilson said, no, let them dance, and they came up on stage in mass, and they danced their hearts out. And it made me, and again, this was, I think it was like from the 70s and whatnot, but again, one of the best documentaries I ever saw, Soul to Soul, and one of the most profound experiences of our culture in bringing the culture together, because also in that particular film is the Staple Singers, and also is Santana, and bringing all that culture together. And that's why I always say that, I encourage our community to do 5 things every day. Do some reading, do some writing, do some talking, do some listening, and do some viewing. And view soul to soul, And then if you really want to get into the culture, also watch Stacks, which is a documentary of a summer concert. And the headliner for that was Isaac Hayes. And again, these are cultural documents that we really need to revisit, because if you never get a chance to go to Africa, you know, we need to have that. And it's so amazing, Gina, you know, I guess time flies when you're having fun, because we have about 5 minutes left. You know? And I always put my brother on the spot, but he loves it though. He loves the challenge. And so I asked him to do the almost impossible, not for him though, is to really, you know, really take us out of here, you know, and I'm asking him to give us a little summary and give us a reaction to what we've experienced. Gina, again, I can't thank you enough. You know, you've come and you don't know what you've given us, okay? And I don't know until I go home and watch the program, because right now I'm into it. I'm into it. But when I go home, the first thing I do, I get me a nice cold glass of water and I sit and watch the program. But again, thank you so much. And if you want to come back again, don't hesitate. You know, we would love to have you back. But my brother, do the impossible.
You know, one of the things, because this is such a conversation that it connects. Mm-hmm. You know, truly thankful for the moment, the spirituality. And I just like to take a couple points, because trauma, and I want to say this personally, but I also say it out of respect to those who truly are unfortunate in a deep level of trauma. Yes. But I'm talking about the ones who just act like they're in trauma. You know,
they just acting out, right?
Just acting up. You know, in a whirlwind of your state of confusion, you're going in circles, whatnot. Healing does not come from trauma or whirlwind. It comes from a connection of people having a conversation, as it was said by a guest. Storytelling. That's right. Everybody has a story. That's right. Everybody can tell the story. It doesn't matter how long or how short, but can you just open your mouth and say, look, I can. And we can write around I can. That's right. And the question would be, what can you do? What is it that you want to do? Where have you been? Well, I had a dream. That's all it takes. Martin Luther King said, I had a dream. I had a dream. And how many others? Harriet Tubman. We could talk about that all day long. We can go back into history. Yes. But trauma is only based on you keeping it, hanging on around your neck. Freedom comes when you can say, you know what? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised, but I'm here today to enjoy the moment that I have. Because as it was with the symbol, the Sankofa, looking back. Here's another thing to add to your homework, as the brother gave to you. You think about the reasons why. What was it that it was looking back? What was the reason for looking back? There's a reason for it. Because it didn't spend its time staring in the back and then go back there worrying about what happened in somebody else's trauma. No. And everybody who reads the Bible, go to church or the Quran or the temple or the mosque, it doesn't matter. Find me where it says go back and stay there and look back and worry about what happened yesterday. No. Yesterday's gone. We are reminded where we come from. That's right. And we prepare for tomorrow. But right now, we should be enjoying the moment to collaborate and to smile, hello, goodbye, whatnot. Because again, every split second, you'll wake up and somebody's not going to be here.
That's right. And on that note, I just want to thank our guests, Gina, and thank you, Brother Ron. Let our community know that this has been Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word. And we are with you every Thursday from 6 to 7, and on Sunday from 5 to 6. And we welcome your comments and your commentary. And you know that after the program, I go through the comments and I try to respond to each and every one, because you're just that important to us. And understand that we are here because of you. It's so funny the way we got to this particular platform. It's almost like a calling. You don't go to school to do this, because you don't know what circumstances might come together. So again, we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for spreading the word, and we thank you for our guests, and we thank you for our host. This is Terry Bench, this is Ron McCrae, and we thank you. Until we see you again, good evening.